It was, 600 students, 800 students, grew to 2,000. And what would happen is they would go to these designated test facilities around the country: Atlanta, Chicago, Washington, Seattle, San Francisco, a few others. And they would sit down and, they would get like a write-up, and they'd write a memo about it. And then they would sit and go through an interview process with people. And then they would, they'd have some other skills that were tested in person. So it kind of designated going to these test sites. Well, what happened is, because more and more interest grew, because student populations grew to 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, they instituted this standardized test. It's understandable why they did it. It was a cost-cutting measure. They saved, I think they estimated 50% of the costs the first year they did it. But deans and directors of people who I interacted with over the summer said, they're not taking our best students anymore. They're getting people who just do well on this test. And one of the things they speculate about is the federal government did a study giving like Myers-Briggs tests to just kind of random people, and they found that there's one dominant personality type that gets hired in the federal government. My guess is this test in some way tries to find people who manage that group of people well or something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but it's a very, it's hard to assume that that test is finding the best people. And NASPA actually sent out a survey to people who took the test in 2008, I think it was. And 2/3 of the people who took the test said they had lost interest in the federal government because of the process they went through for the PMF process. And so these are people who are high-flying, aspiring types, and this test that says, you're only good for the federal government if you're, you see yourself as this, or this, it's turning people away. And so I think they were smart to bring back the interview process. A lot of people kind of always wonder, well, what is policy, or get a little confused about that. And like my mom, she's a teacher, and her school district just went to this this policy of students' homework isn't graded. As long as they turn it in, it's good, and they just get graded on tests. And that's certainly a policy, but my mom was saying, it was a policy they tried 30 years ago and it didn't work. That's why they switched away from it. Maybe that's the thing I can do better, is really kind of pay attention to, why didn't this work before, opposed to just being like, oh, here's a new idea that we haven't tried in 30 years. And, education is rewarding for people who enjoy it, and so if you can make more people enjoy it at a younger age, that's I think that's worth its weight in gold, really.